All right. Hey, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, looking forward to this one.
Rick, it's amazing how many options there are to support prostate health through diet.
It really is. And I think it's important to emphasize that this isn't about completely eliminating other foods or following a restrictive diet. It's about incorporating these beneficial options into your meals and enjoying a balanced and diverse range of nutrients.
Absolutely. But before we move on, this research also mentions some foods to approach with caution. What are those?
That's right. There are a few food categories that the research suggests being mindful of when it comes to prostate health.
Okay, I'm all ears. What should we be aware of?
First up, we have red meat.
Red meat, as
Right.
in beef, pork, lamb. I have to admit, I do enjoy a good steak now and then. What's the concern with red meat and the prostate?
It's not about avoiding it altogether, but rather being mindful of how much you eat and how it's prepared. Research suggests that a high intake of red meat, especially when it's cooked at high temperatures like grilling, barbecuing, or smoking, could be linked to an increased risk of both an enlarged prostate and prostate cancer.
High temperature cooking. That's interesting. Why is that a factor?
When meat is cooked at high temperatures, it can form certain compounds that have been linked to cancer development.
So it's not just the red meat itself, it's also the way it's prepared that can impact our health.
Exactly. It's all about making informed choices.
Okay, noted. Moderation is key when it comes to red meat, and opting for lower temperature cooking methods when possible. What else should we be aware of?
Next up, we have milk products.
Milk products, as in milk, cheese, yogurt. That's surprising. I always thought that dairy was good for us. What's the connection to prostate health?
Again, it's not about completely eliminating dairy from our diets, but rather being mindful of our intake. Similar to red meat, a high consumption of dairy products has been linked to an increased risk of an enlarged prostate.
So it's all about balance and moderation. Are all dairy products equally implicated, or are some worse than others?
The research doesn't specify particular types, but it's always a good idea to opt for low-fat or fat-free options when possible.
Okay, good to know. I'll definitely be more mindful of my dairy intake from now on. What's the last category to be aware of?
Last but not least, we have high-sodium foods.
High sodium foods, as in salty snacks and processed foods.
Exactly. Too much salt can put a strain on our kidneys, which, as we discussed earlier, can have downstream effects on prostate health. Processed foods, canned soups, and restaurant meals tend to be particularly high in sodium, so it's a good idea to be mindful of those.
Makes sense. I know I always feel bloated and uncomfortable after a particularly salty meal.
It's your body's way of telling you that something's out of balance.
Okay, so to recap, we should be mindful of our consumption of red meat, especially when cooked at high temperatures, dairy products, and high sodium foods. It's all about making informed choices and striving for balance in our diets.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that these are just general guidelines based on research. Everyone's individual needs and tolerances can vary, so it's always best to consult with your doctor or a registered dietitian for personalized advice.
Great point. We're not medical professionals, so it's always best to seek professional guidance for personalized recommendations.
Mhm.
But armed with this information, we can definitely start making more informed choices about the foods we eat to keep our prostates happy and healthy.
Exactly. Now that we've covered the food front, let's dive into some actionable steps you can take beyond diet to prioritize your prostate health.
Sounds good.